So it was announced in September that Bangkok was going to be reopening to tourists in October. You can currently go there if you stay in what they call an ASQ hotel, which means you're quarantined. It had been all along for the last, say, 18 months, it was 14 nights, 15 days that you had to pay to be in this hotel. You couldn't leave your room until after something like the first 7 days, and then you got like an hour on the roof, but you had to socially distance from anyone else. And anyway, it was complicated, and there's lots of videos on YouTube about how people passed the time. A couple weeks ago, Thailand announced they cut the quarantine time from 14 nights to 7 nights, so that helps. That's for vaccinated travelers. It's 10 nights for unvaccinated travelers. And of course, the confusing thing is, up till then, Thailand treated vaccinated and unvaccinated visitors exactly the same, which of course made no sense. So currently, there are a few locations in Thailand that are open. They're called Sandbox, a sandbox program, which is different than quarantining. It's a little bit like quarantining, but it's in an entire city or area. So, for instance, Phuket is like the most popular beach destination in Thailand, a real party city and beautiful beaches. So it was the first sandbox that they opened. I think it was in July. So what it means is you could fly into Phuket and stay in one of their sanctioned hotels, and when they that means that the hotel staff is 100% vaccinated. In order to qualify for that status, you have to stay in one of those. So it's currently 7 nights that you have to stay, but you're free to go out of the hotel to go all around Phuket for that 7 nights. Because Phuket in its entirety is at more than 70% vaccinated. The Thai government loves coming up with slogans. So this is their slogan for opening Chiang Mai. And it was supposed to open, they had announced it was going to be on October 1st. And then in the middle to late September, they announced that it would be delayed until November 1st. I'm recording this on October 10th, and they still say that it's going to be on November 1st. They don't say exactly what that is dependent on. And they also, even though it's so soon, they have not published any details of what will be required for people to enter there. What we do know is that you can fly straight into Chiang Mai, which you cannot currently do. So my ticket is to Bangkok. So I need Bangkok and Chiang Mai both to be open in order for me to route through Bangkok and go to Chiang Mai. I follow a couple people. One is American, one is English, and they live in Chiang Mai. And they have done a really good job of documenting for us what the city is like. They go out and about walking or riding their bike around town and showing us what's open. And it seems like there's plenty in the city open. So, for instance, here are a couple of my maybe itineraries right now. I'm going to see my sister and her family in West Virginia, and then I fly directly from there through Chicago to Bangkok, So this first itinerary is best case scenario that I can spend the whole 2 months in Chiang Mai. My second itinerary is if I have to spend a week in Bangkok, then I'd have about 50 plus days in Chiang Mai. Singapore has suddenly, they've been very, very strict about who they let in. I'd love to go to Singapore, but suddenly last week that they announced that they are negotiating with the U.S. government to open, I don't know what they call, some sort of like travel lane or something between those two locations. I think the CDC says that Vietnam is doing pretty well in the COVID area. So it's just a possibility. I'm just putting them in there. And I'm not making any of these reservations until I'm already in Thailand and I can see in February or March or even the beginning of April how things are. Then I'm flying from Asia. So I had planned to go to a lot more countries than this in Asia, and that's not going to happen. Then I fly to Europe. So I'm going to be spending more time in Europe than I had sort of planned. But one of the problems is, like I said in my previous video, I can only spend 90 days in the Schengen visa area, which includes France and Czech Republic and Poland and Spain. Any of these others? No. So I'll have to I'll have to spend some days somewhere else. I still have Tbilisi, Georgia in all of my plans because I'd really like to stay there. Krakow, Poland. I want to see my friend Anne in Spain. I'd like to go to Marrakesh. And then one of my other alternatives is to just go for 2+ weeks just around the Balkans. I'll decide at the time where I want to go. Thanks for watching. I'll update you all when it gets closer to my departure time, and hopefully by then I'll know exactly what will and will not be open during my trip. Ciao.